observations and findings. The Joint Committee, after a studious consideration of both and the written submissions made by the stakeholders and its visit to the city of Calabar, came up with the following observations. 1. That the EndSARS Protest started on 8 October 2020 in Lagos and Abuja. However, it commenced peacefully in Cross River State on 12 October 2020. 2. That the protest turned violent in Cross River between 23rd and 24th October 2020, when it was hijacked by hoodlums and the miscreants who vandalized and looted both public and private property. 3. That the protest took a different dimension where private homes, businesses, and the other public property of both the federal and state government were vandalized and looted. The health facilities were also not left out, as both private and public health facilities were attacked, vandalized, and looted. 4. That at the time of the invasion of homes, the security agencies failed to promptly respond to distress calls from victims. Several victims got hint of the planned attacks before the actual acts. 5. That among those notable leaders whose property and the businesses were attacked were former governors of the state, His Excellency Senator Leal Imoke, His Excellency Mr. Donald Duke, Sabin, and the former senators from the state, Senator Gasham Bassi, Senator Victor Ndomaeba, Senator Bassi Ewu Henshaw, and a member of the House of Representatives, Eta Umbaro. Next page, number 6. That the police, Department of Services, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps were overwhelmed by the sheer number of the protesters who unleashed mayhem on the city of Calabar. 8. That the Cross River State government, in a holistic approval, set up a committee that verified and confirmed the number of property, both public and private, that were vandalized and looted. 9. That about 159 private and public property were vandalized and looted during the protest. 10. That the financial value of the vandalized property stock items were also submitted by the affected persons, verified by the committee set up by the governor, amounting to the tune of 73,69,634,615.7. That a letter was written to Mr. President by the governor of Cross River State, Senator Professor Ben Ayade, requesting for support, struck funds in the sum of 73,69,634,615.7 only, to enable the state to rebuild, reconstruct, and compensate individuals and the groups who had lost property. 12. It was alleged that the carnage was perpetrated by non-indigents of the state. 13. It was also alleged by the police that it lacked adequate personnel, vehicles, arms, ammunition, and other tactical equipment for effective policing of the city of Calabar. 14. It was again alleged by the police that 106 suspects were arrested, 90% of which were indigents of Akwa Ibom extraction, including 2 females. 15. That the internally displaced person of the Kasi Peninsula have not been resettled by the federal government. Neither has any kind of respite given to them. Number 16, that a significant proportion of the residents of Calabar are either unemployed or underemployed, giving rise to idleness and creating room for those unused energies being deployed to criminality and other antisocial ventures. 17, that as a result of the 16 above, there were incidents of kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, rape, cultism, and other forms of criminality leveraging on the waterways, which were estimated to have 497 unguarded entry points in and out of Calabar and the Republic of Cameroon. 18. It was further alleged by the police that youths, both in secondary and tertiary institutions, are very much engaged in cultism and other forms of nefarious and antisocial activities. 19. The general problem of unemployment gave rise to youth restiveness. 20. That the present school/educational system is skewed in such a way that it is devoid of functional, vocational, and technical skills, making the graduates of such a system unsuitable for current realities. And that's why we have been advocating for functional education. 21. That the Department of State Services made it a duty to submit intelligence reports daily to the state governor and the other sister security agencies in Cross River State. 22. That prior to the EndSARS Protest, and when it subsequently became violent, the DSS dispatched intelligence to the state governor urging for the convocation of an emergency state security council meeting on the issue. 23rd, that the state security council meetings were regularly held prior to the 2019 general election and became irregular immediately after the election. 24, the DSS reported that there was no state security council meetings 8 months before the EndSARS protest. 25, that some citizens of Cross River State lost their valuables and property during the carnage, among whom were the following: His Excellency Donald Duke, former governor of Cross River State; His Excellency Dale Imoke, also former governor of Cross Rivers. Senator Victor Indomayaba, Senator Basi Henshaw, Senator Gresham Basi, Honorable Eta Mboro, member of the House of Representatives. Other victims, as contained in the report of the Committee on Vandalization, Looting and Recovery of EndSARS, set up by the Cross River State Government, see Appendix 1. 26. That not less than 45 property of the Cross River State Government, valued at 34,255,427,822.27, were destroyed. Okay, were vandalized and looted during the protest. 27. That not less than 45 property of the Cross River State Government, valued at, this is a repetition. 28. That the Cross River State Government had written to both the Amnesty Office on the Niger Delta and the National Emergency Management Agency for assistance. However, the state is yet to receive any form of assistance from the federal government agencies. 29. That all the heritage centers, tourist edifices, and the other critical infrastructure in the Cross River have been completely looted and vandalized by the protesters. The government did not provide protection to these critical state and the federal government infrastructure. 30. That a certain Josie Oko, who was indicted by the DSS as one of the masterminds and the leaders of the protest, was subsequently appointed to serve also in the panel of inquiry set up by the government. A case of double standard. Recommendations. Yeah? Next page, that is 65. Page 65. The Joint Committee, after extensive deliberation on its findings, wishes to recommend as follows. 1. That there is need for regular and purposeful training of personnel of the security agencies to be in tandem with international best practices. Emphasis on civil and human rights, especially during protests. Also, the rules of engagement should be strictly observed. 2. The federal government of Nigeria should consider the peculiarity of Cross River State with a very large landmass, over 6,000 Cameroonian refugees, influence of Amazonian army at the border with the Cameroon, the large number of militants and those granted amnesty by the state government but yet to be integrated into the national amnesty program. As a threat to the Cross River State security, the state government appeals that she be given priority in the area of security by the federal government. 3. That the federal government should evolve and implement holistic reforms in the Nigerian police that aimed at employing more able-bodied personnel. 2. Providing adequate vehicles to the various commands. 3. Injecting more financial resources. Provision of adequate and relevant arms, ammunition, and the other policing gadgets. 5. Regular, adequate, and strategic training to be in tandem with international best practices. This will ensure and guarantee effective and efficient policing and the coverage of the policy. 4. The educational program and the curriculum should be geared towards including functional education in the individuals, empowering them with academic, technical, vocational capabilities. Graduates should be able to be entrepreneurs and job creators or living schools instead of waiting endlessly for non-existing white-collar jobs from government. 5. That the Cross River State government should be advised to hold regular state security meetings to ensure total safety and its citizens, safety of its citizens and their property. It should treat the regular intelligence report of the DSS with uttermost dispatch. 6. That the Amnesty Office and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, should provide relief materials and assistance to the victims of the mayhem. 7. That the federal government should provide relief support to identified individuals of Cross River State who lost their valuables and property during the carnage. Some of these persons and the estimate of properties lost are as follows. His Excellency Donald Duke, former governor of Cross River, lost 200 billion. His Excellency Senator Neil Emoki, former governor of Cross Rivers, also lost 506 million. Senator Victor Indoma Eba San lost 1.5 billion. Senator Basi Ewa Hansho lost 9 billion 302,660,000. Senator Gresham Basi lost 4 billion 89,780,000 to the mayhem. Honorable Eta Mboro lost 150 million naira. Other victims lost 12.137 billion. Number 8, the federal government should come to the aid of Cross River State government by the provision of funds to defray the cost of rebuilding and reconstructing the vandalized and the looted property valued at 34 billion 427 255 822.45 only. Number 9, the federal government should provide the funds for the reconstruction and the rebuilding of vandalized and looted property of all the federal government agencies in Cross River State, valued at 10 billion 927 million 321,757.5 only. Number 10, that the Cross River State government should be advised to support the state security bureaucracy, especially and equipment-wise, to make it more purposeful and effective. There must be a healthy synergy between the state government and all the federal government security agencies domiciled and operating in the state for robust interchange and the comprehensive deliverables. Conclusion. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the Joint Committee, I wish to thank the leadership of the Senate and the entire Senate for the confidence reposed on us to undertake this national affair. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Any comments? Money to be approved here. I think we don't have to go into that. Instead, we should refer them to the state EndSARS committee setup. So that will affect recommendations 7, 8, and 9. Whether that will be on page 66. So we'll take the recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. And I'll put all of them. For one, I will mention the recommendations. They don't have anything to do with money. They are advice to the state government, to the security agencies, and so on. And then those 7, 8, and 9, we treat them as proposed by the leader. And of course, so we are on page 65. Those in favor of recommendation 1, recommendation 2, recommendation 3, recommendation 4, recommendation 5, and 6, and 10 on page 67. Those in favor of those recommendations say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The recommendations 7, 8, and 9. Deputy Senate President, can you give us can you word it the way it should be, how we transmit that, or Jibola? Senator Basiru, how do you want it to be? In favor of recommendations 7, 8, and 9 as amended. Is it as amended? Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move that this Senate do adjourn